in our mind, time doesn't pass at a constant speed. For example, scrolling on TikTok for 5 minutes feels like nothing. It feels like a second just went by, right? But if you would hold a plank for 5 minutes, you would feel every second of it. You would feel every muscle, you would feel every breath. And those 5 minutes would last what would feel like forever. But why are time perceptions so different? That's because the way that we experience life has less to do with the clock and what actually is happening in our mind and in our body. Our perception of time stretches or contrasts depending on how engaged we are, for example, or how intense moments feel like, or how familiar or unfamiliar that place or situation you are in is. And when you're scrolling, your brain is half distracted. It literally just flicks through some short videos, and that's why it's called brain rot, because your brain is passive, it's not active. Your brain is just consumed that information and received that dopamine hit. But when you are in the plank, you're very aware of the time, you're very present. That's why you feel every muscle, every breath, and that's why time feels longer, because when we're present, time feels longer. But that's not always the case, and you'll see why in this video. But in situations like this, for example, plank, time will go slower because you're present in that situation. But when we're doing something passive, like scrolling, watching a movie, I don't even know what else to come up with, then you feel like that. You feel like time just went by so quickly and you cannot remember what you did today, or like how did these 10 hours pass. Hopefully not 10 hours. Hopefully you're not scrolling for 10 hours. Let's hope not. Let's hope you're not. Yeah. So while it all explains these like 5-minute moments, why time just went by so fast when I, for example, scroll 5 minutes on TikTok, how does it connect to our life in general? Because when you live your day every day by stacking up the same routine, scrolling and doing nothing interesting and nothing new, time doesn't just slip by. Every day kind of blurs into the same, and that's why you cannot remember anything from, for example, what was like 4 years ago on this exact date. What was 4 years ago at 28th of July at 10 p.m. I have no idea what was in 2021. For the life of me, I cannot remember. If you can, that's amazing. Maybe it was someone's birthday or like significant date to you, but other than that, I cannot really think of reasons why someone would remember the date and what happened 4 years ago. And to be honest, if you would ask me, I'd say, and I think everyone would say, that when they were kids, time was going by slower. Because when I was a kid and I had a break from school, that break from school, I had so many memories, I had so many things happen to me, and right now I cannot believe it's August. It's almost August. It's August when you're watching this. And there are things that happened to me, but for the life of me, I do not see them as something, which time goes by so fast. Even though I have these memories or like major events or something, time goes by so fast. It doesn't go, it's just fly by so fast. And one of the questions I'm gonna answer now and talk about is, why does time feel shorter now? And if that's not a question you want an answer to, I'm gonna also be answering some other questions relating time thing in this video, so you could just like search, because I'm gonna timestamps and I want you to enjoy this video fully. So why did time feel slower when we were kids? First of all, it's because of the novelty. Because you had a lot of first times. You rode a bike for first time, you played a guitar, you went there, you went to this city, you rode a car. I mean, not literally, you like were in a car, you listened to music, you did this and this and this and this, and novelty wears off. Because, for example, if you're gonna visit a new city, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be amazing, you will be like, wow, it's so cool. But after living there for 5 years, you'd be like, okay, regular spot, very boring city, I don't like it. Nobody wears off because you already been to these places, you already seen all these things that tourists see, you already been there, and seen the sunset from that castle, from that bridge. I don't know. Nobody wears off because it's harder and harder to impress you. The same thing is with us. We tried everything. I tried my like the fruit strawberry for first time when I was a kid, grapes, all this, and it's just very hard to impress me, to have some kind of novelty. And because I don't have that kind of novelty, time goes by faster. And then I'll explain why, but there is also another reason. As we get older, we fall into routine, which makes time collapse. Basically, each and every one of us has the same routine every day. You wake up, you eat, work or study, go somewhere, eat, work or study, do something in the evening, and go to sleep. Yeah, sure, that there's things like you go out, you do this, and this, and this, but because our life is pretty routine, it's pretty basic, it's, our brain kind of used to it, there's no need for it to fill our head with it. So, for example, if you would think, and without opening your gallery, what was your highlight of, I don't even know, a week ago? What was the highlight a week ago? I cannot remember. What was my highlight last Tuesday? I can't, because my day is pretty routine and I don't do anything interesting. If, for example, someone would propose to me, or I don't know, I would win a lottery, or I would, break a leg, I would remember that because it's a significant moment, right? But because of this routine, every day kind of vanishes and it becomes this big chunk of days in our mind, because there would just be too much information for your brain to store of each day, the same routine, so it just saves it as a big chunk. And that's why it's hard for us to remember these things. But the thing is, you can fix that. Our time perception isn't fixed. You could train your brain to slow things down again. And there are a few things that you could do. So first one, I think it's basic. You already understood it from everything that I already said. You have to introduce something new. And sure, it could be new routine, new challenges, learning experiences, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna just shortly mention things that help me in these instances, in these situations. So I have a jar of, I'm gonna show you. I don't know if that's this jar or not, because they're pretty similar, they're the same. And basically what I do, I put there, for example, eat a fruit salad, or go for a run where I have never been to, or go cycling, or learn a new song on guitar, or I don't know, do 30 minutes of stretching, or something like that. Something fun and something that I don't do daily that would spark up my day. I do that, and I pull out one piece of paper each day, and I do that, and I try to do that. So my days would be filled with something interesting, and it would bring some novelty to it also. What I also like to do is more niche, I'd say. I don't think that many people could do it as this, because, everyone could do it. But what I like to do is a little bit extreme. I like to film these videos, like 7-day challenges, 30-day challenges, because they make me feel alive. Honestly, they make me feel alive. They make me feel like I'm doing something with my life, because my life is pretty routine. I wake up, I write down some things that I need to do throughout the day. I schedule them when I will have to do them. I have work, and somehow it always ends the same, that I don't have enough time for anything. But when I do these 7-day challenges, 30-day challenges, I feel so empowered. I'm like, oh my god. I remember the last challenge that I did was 30-day challenge without TV shows and movies, and it was fire. I felt like I was living. I really felt like I was living, and it brought so much to my life. And that's one of the things that I like to do. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to film it on YouTube. You could film it and just show your friends, or just film it for yourself, or just set this, challenge and do it yourself. But what I found is it doesn't help me. I can't just like set it and do it. I even struggle sometimes when I have like accountability of someone watching a video, and like I know I'm filming for someone, and feel like I should be accountable, so that helps. But sometimes I also slip. But the feeling of someone keeping me accountable, even though people don't know about that video yet, is still a motivating thought. So the next one is pay more attention. So be more mindful. That's pretty easy one. I don't think I could over explain it to you. I don't think you need me to tell you how to be mindful, because if you want to hear meditations and all these things, well, you already heard it. I just said it. Yeah. And the next one is just journal or document your days. So it could be journaling, which is pretty fun, pretty basic, but you could also do something if you don't like journaling, or if it takes much time. You could record voice notes. I do that. I record voice notes and like update of 07/28/2025, update of this and this, or like highlight of and the days, and and I just talk about everything. And I could be like doing something, going somewhere, and I just talk, and that's how I journal. Or you could film videos and make the like little videos of your days or weeks or something. Just document it, because what I feel right now and how I feel right now, I won't remember even tomorrow. In 24 hours, I won't remember how my, for example, shoulder hurts, or how excited I am to film this video because I haven't filmed in a long time, or any other mix of emotions that I right now have. I won't remember it. So writing it down sounds like a beautiful idea, Why does time pass slower or faster depending on how we feel, how engaged we are in conversation with someone, or maybe during the meeting, or about also flow, if you know what I mean? When you in the flow state, why does time pass? I do not know how to put it into like one category. So there's like emotional states, attention, and flow of time. So what I want to say is novelty is not the only thing that shapes how we feel time. Our emotional state plays a huge role too. So for example, if you are anxious and you understand that you have to go to the stage and give the speech, and you just feel how slow time goes in these like 30 seconds before you're gonna go on that stage, before you're gonna perform or say the thing that you have to say, time goes so slow because you're anxious. When you're excited about something, you cannot wait for it. So but I feel like it also time goes so long because when you're waiting for something, for example, you're so excited about that present that someone is gonna give you, but it's gonna be tomorrow, and you cannot sleep all night because of how excited you are for it, So emotions really change how we perceive time. But there is also attention. So for example, if you are in one of the boring Zoom meetings that you have to attend to because it's your job, and you're like, oh my god, how much time do I have left to be here? Like, how long do I have to be here for? Okay, so only 2 minutes have passed. Okay, and then you sit there, listen, and then again, like, okay, how long now do I have left? And only a minute has passed. I've been in situations where that happened to me when I checked the clock like, I don't know, 30 times throughout the meeting, and I'm like, when can I be out? Because and I'm just, see, in that moment I'm not present. In that moment I think of like, what will I do after it? So what will I do after the meeting will end? What will I do this and this? Or maybe I should buy this, or maybe, I'm not present. So that's why time goes very slow. I have nothing to distract me. I'm not in TikTok. For example, when we're watching a movie and we put out take our phone and scroll on TikTok. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why movie goes by so fast because you literally also scrolling through TikTok. Genius. So you're not paying attention either there or there. Your brain is actually half working because it, as I said, for that reason, it's called brain rotting, because you're not using your brain. So yeah, that's why. But when you, for example, are, I don't want to say Zoom meeting was something exciting. It's like, but it could also be that when you are in a Zoom meeting where you learn something exciting that you wanted to learn, or a conversation with the person that you wanted to, or basically I think the better example would be, do you know these conversations that prolong to like 3 a.m. and they started like 10 and you just talk to this person? You are paying so much attention to them. You are full into what they're saying and you into this conversation and you like that person so much, especially on the stages of where you just meet a person and you tell each other everything. I mean, not everything, just like basically the basic story of your life. You're so interested in that person. You paying attention so much. I've been in moments like that. I even thought of, it was somewhere in the middle of like, it was 11 p.m. and we started talking at like 10, and I think, okay, we'll talk to Akwani, and I'm like, oh my god, in an hour it's gonna be over. I cannot, and that was the only moment where I was unfocused and wasn't present during the conversation with that person. And the conversation with that person went by so fast. That's insane. The sad thing is, I didn't journal about it or anything. So now I cannot actually remember anything we talked about. Like, I can remember a topic or two, but nothing else. So it just went by very fast and didn't leave a mark, which is sad, but at least now I know what to do if I want to, for it to leave a mark, a longer mark. So that's what I wanted to tell you about. But there is also something that's called flow state, which you could also experience with people. And that's the last thing that I described to you, was flow state with people. So when you're paying attention so much, so closely, that you just lose the perception of time. So flow state is not only could be used in work. For example, you start painting and you just so into this moment. It requires a lot of focus, but not too much focus that you're overwhelmed, but also your strength and like all this. It requires everything at the level that it should be, and it's ideal, and you in this flow state. For example, a musician could pick up a guitar and be in this flow state, or writer could have flow state. Every person could have a flow state, but in different areas of their life. I mean, in every area of their life, but they have inclination to each area of their life, where to, if a person never played the guitar, doesn't know any chord, that is not likely that they would experience a flow state if someone would give them guitar, right? So you could also feel that flow state with a person when you just so focused on a conversation or on that person or something. Flow state is when you feel challenged, but to the level when you're not overwhelmed. It's also when you feel focused, safe, interested, challenged, as I said, just enough, not overwhelmed and not bored. So your brain stops scanning surroundings for something more interesting, for danger, for escape, for different other things that you have in your mind, other problems that you need to solve, and so on and so forth. And you're just in this moment. You're just in the flow state. And the thing is, you could take these things that I'm going to give you right now and use them to make these boring Zoom calls more interesting, to kind of force your brain into being in flow state during the most boring things. So when you have that flow state, even let's talk about conversation with that person, you're interested in what they have to say. You focused on something in that conversation. It could be, if you're FaceTiming, the way that you look, and you're like, oh, I did such a cool haircut, I'm just so good. Okay, cool. Yeah, tell me more. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I should have cut more of it. You're focused on something in the conversation. When you're just looking at the clock and being like, oh, How much longer? How much longer? It's not gonna pass by very long. So what you can do is to find something to focus on. It could be, for example, someone is saying something and you're like, okay, let's rephrase what they just said. Or you could set a mini goal to write something interesting of what each person said. So for example, you have like 5 people on the Zoom call and you just focus on what they're saying because you want to find something interesting that they could find, I could give you multiple of examples, but you understand what I'm coming from the examples that I already gave you, and you can come up, hopefully you could come up, I believe in you, you can come up with examples of your own. Okay, so here's that. But before doing this and before writing down a goal for a meeting or something you want to focus on, you first have to understand what you're feeling. Because if you won't understand what you're feeling, then how are you going to make yourself get into that flow state or be more focused if you don't know the emotions you're feeling? I mean, you could do that, but that's an entirely different question, entirely different conversation, I'd say, right? An entirely different video. So just recognize what emotion you're feeling. Are you bored? Are you anxious? Are you irritated by what they say? Maybe it makes no sense to you and you're like, this is crazy. Your guys are insane. I don't know. And, you could also feel that. Also valid. I mean, if you're not telling it to anyone, if you yell at people and say, oh, that's stupid, then, well, don't do it. Then, as I said, just set a micro goal of what you want to do during that meeting or doing that thing. Also, what you could add is active curiosity. You could be like, what is this person trying to bring by me? Or what is something interesting about this person? What I have never noticed about this person? If I would never meet this person, would never know what they do, what would I think this person does? Just like plug in this active curiosity, which would make you feel I don't know. You're not really focused on the person, but in those pondering, in hopes of staying active, or not like active, but like actively curious in something, paying attention, time goes by faster than just looking at your clock and saying, oh, when will it end? What you could also do, not for Zoom call, but in your life in general, is create like mini attention triggers, or as they said, create mini flow triggers in your day. So, for example, play music and clean for 15 minutes without no distractions, which I would argue because music is kind of a distraction. You could start dancing to it and singing. So, I don't know about that. Also, practice a skill like drawing, singing, writing, just for fun. Talk to a friend without multitasking, because, oh my God, the amount of times I tell something to my friends and I clean up the room, or I FaceTime someone and I do something else, that's insane. And walk outside and notice 5 things. For example, 5 red things or yellow, or, just come up with something. Or Google, because it's a very common practice. Make routine things more meaningful. So one of the examples could be eat without watching anything. I know it sounds like personal attack, and I feel like it is if someone would tell me that a few weeks ago, but now sometimes I actually enjoy watching, like eating without watching anything, even though sometimes I feel like I'm wasting time and I could watch something knowledgeable and eat. But, it's just one of the points, just make routine things more meaningful. That could be an example I gave you. You could also write a short reflection by the end of your day. I don't know, you could turn your to-do list into a challenge or a playlist. And of course, you could, as always, move your body. And one of the last things is stop multitasking, because split attention leads to shallow experience that barely register. So what I would recommend, I actually wrote all of this. I just have a very bad memory when it comes to this. So what I would recommend is watch one video at a time. If you're watching a movie, watch a movie. Put down your phone. No need for TikToks. Just watch a freaking movie. alright? Watch one video at a time. You don't have to put YouTube on, you don't have to at the same time play music and at the same time watch reels or something, or respond to your friend, or be on FaceTime with your friend, you know? Do one thing at a time. So the last one is stop multitasking all the time, because split attention leads to shallow experiences. So if you are watching a movie, for the love of God, just watch a movie. Don't pull out your phone and go to TikTok and search something, or at the same time buy something, or just watch a movie. If you're talking to your friend, just talk to your friend. No need to start cleaning up. No need to do all this. Just be present. So what I wanted to say is, if you feel like your days are blurring in together, it doesn't mean that your life doesn't have meaning. It just means that you need more contrast to recognize time passing. You know, we don't need these like big changes to feel alive. We don't have to move to another country, get a car, move apartments or something like that. Just little changes, as I said with this jar. Just little changes. They could influence your life so much, and you will remember the days much better. But this is all, and I hope you enjoyed this, because it took a lot to make this video. Not really. Okay, I love you. Bye. I'll see you next one. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I'll see you.